All right, it looks like we're ready for this Miasmata run, so take it away.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody. This is some introductions. My name is Lefty, and I'm currently
And my name is MAWNHA, and I am in second place for this category.
this is a really unique and peculiar game that came out in 2012.
hmm
It is very interesting. It was made ground up by two brothers, engine and all. Probably get started with.
For sure. Yeah.
Let's get this up. You want to say on?
Yeah. Hop up. Could you do this for us, or?
Yes, I can. Very quickly, one side. It sounds like no lefty audio. Hopefully, someone's getting that. Yes, I can count you down in 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. So you'll be able to read it on the screen, but the plot of this game is that you are playing as a scientist named Robert Hughes, who has contracted a plague and has been exiled to an island. However, on that island was a team of scientists who are looking to cure that plague. And essentially, your entire mission in this game is to roam about the island, procure some different fauna that is on the island in order to synthesize different elements of the cure, and cure yourself and leave the island and head back to the mainland. That is essentially the main mission here. In the normal game, there are more like survival horror elements involved. However, we are not partaking in any of those horror elements. We are moving too fast simply for any of those to spawn.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a bit of a sort of survival kind of thing, but we go quick enough that we can just get the things that we came here for and then get out.
Official timer should be starting in about 3, 2,
As soon as we
1,
start moving.
and now.
So something that's really interesting about this game is that the way that the engine is made, everything is very heavy on momentum. You go much slower going up slopes, and you go much faster going down them. So something you're going to see is that we try to spend as much time as possible going down slopes when we can.
The movement is like a weird mix of just like a standard first-person game and also Super Monkey Ball. Like, you carry a lot of forward momentum really, really quickly, and the game kind of hates giving you any kind of sideways or backwards momentum. So you'll see us utilize that as well when going down like super big slopes or anything like that. We'll try and use the game's engine to sort of counteract that there. So there are...
So we're going to be...
You go
first.
Okay, so in general, there are 6 plants that we need to get in order to create the full cure. Luckily for us, the first 2 are pretty much right next to spawn, so those are the first 2 we'll be going for.
So I just picked up the first of the plants that we need to get. This is the pitcher plant. So I'm gonna hold on to this in my hand while I run to get the next one. You can hold up to 3 different plants in your hand at a time, and you can only hold one of any given plant at a time as well. You can't hold like multiple instances of the same plant.
Yeah, and we pretty much will only be collecting plants relevant to the cure. The only one that we will be doing otherwise is one called the yellow mushroom, which will let us swim further distances than normal. Because of our currently plague-ridden state, we can only swim for about maybe like 10 seconds or so. The yellow mushroom will allow us to craft a Herculean tonic later on, which will let us swim for 30 seconds longer, which will allow us to skip big portions of the map, essentially.
Something else that you notice us doing is that we have to stop running every now and then to drink water. And you collect water by drinking out of streams and lakes and stuff like that. But the more you sprint, you gradually run out of stamina. And drinking water helps replenish that stamina. So it's a pretty important skill to have to be able to manage your water, filling it up as you need and taking taking sips of it so that you don't run out of stamina and end up running slow the whole time.
Yeah. And also a weird quirk with the momentum system is that in this game is that you can build up forward momentum either by going down slopes or occasionally jumping off of like jagged edges or things like that, but you don't want to generate too much momentum, otherwise your character will fall over and trip, which you will almost certainly see at some point one of us do that. And the more you do that, the more you gain the status called fever, and it essentially makes you a little bit slower and also occasionally gives you a random chance to go into a coughing fit, which blurs your vision and makes you really, really slow. And since we want to speedrun this game, we do not want that to happen.
So all these plants you're collecting are to make this cure to
Yeah.
remove
Yeah,
the plague?
so all the plants are going into the cure, but there are specifically 3 components we have to make to put the cure together, and each component is of 2 specific plants. So right now, in my hand, I'm holding the 2 plants we need for the first component, as well as a mushroom, and that mushroom is gonna help us make something that can make our swimming better, which we're gonna need for later.
Why exactly does this plague make you bad at swimming?
It great question. It just sort of weakens you entirely, I guess. Like, so there is other.
Oh, there I go, falling.
Yeah, there it is. So there are other elements to this game that we're just basically skipping out, right? Right? Like there are different, I forget what they're called even, but they're essentially boosters that boost specific parts of your stats. And one of them is run speed, which you would think would be really, really good for us. However, those plants to make that booster aren't really anywhere near our path, so those just aren't particularly relevant to us. But the plague essentially just weakens everything of ours. Oh, there I go. Sweet.
So I have fallen and gotten fever, which is a really unfortunate part of the game to get during this, because part of the plan for later in the game is to take fever on purpose while swimming a far distance to get to a distant shore. And so if I have fever now, then that means that I might not be able to swim that far. So I need to kind of think about where I'm going to be able to go and take a nap to get rid of my fever. Because you can just sleep fever away in this game. That's how you get rid of it. You just sleep it off.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be.
But we'll figure that out when we get there.
Yeah. Essentially, the 3 different stages of fever are normal fever, which just, I don't think slows you down at all, but just gives you a low chance of those little coughing fits I mentioned earlier. High fever, which does slow you down and also gives you a greater chance of those coughing fits. And then after that, you just die.
So
Yes.
here I'm arriving at a laboratory right now, which is where you can synthesize these plants to make these potions and these components of the cure.
I just
So here's the first one.
finished up at that lab there, and I will be moving
Okay.
on my way towards the next plants that we require.
Now I need to find a bed to sleep in.
Or you could, I think the plants right outside that first lab you can use to make basic medicine, if you want to get freaky with it.
You're right. You know what? Let's have some fun with it. I will make some basic medicine. So you can use these plants. This is normally not part of the route, but because I am injured, I'm going to do so. So I can use this plant to make basic medicine, which will sort of temporarily cure my fever. So I'll just take that, and then I'll be on my way again.
So those first 2 plants were right by spawn. The last 3 plants that we look for are right by our final destination where we end the game. But of course, oh god, I drank the wrong thing. That's not good.
Are you in trouble?
I am in trouble.
Did you drink the tonic instead of water?
I did the opposite. I drank water instead of the tonic.
Oh, are you going to drown?
Potentially.
I would advise against drowning if you can. So the collecting of plants and using it to make various medicines and potions is a core concept of this game.
It's the entire concept, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much the whole gameplay loop. There's an element that we haven't talked about that is kind of like important to the experience of the game for like playing it for the first time, and that's the exploration of it. The map system is very unique in that you sort of recognize landmarks as you approach them, and then in order to unlock more aspects of the map, you visit a landmark and then you look from that landmark. You like turn around and see if there's any other landmarks that you can see from that spot. And if you can see two landmarks that you've already been to from that spot, then you can triangulate your position and get your location on the map. So that's how you gradually reveal the map, is by actually doing like a triangulation kind of thing, which is really unique and interesting. But we don't do any of that because we know where we need to go.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I did just die, so I do have to start over from the beginning. So
That is pretty unfortunate.
that's really rough for me. I thought I could make
Very
it.
start
I
of
did
the
not.
game.
Well,
You have to
see,
gather all the plants again.
At least the first couple, yeah. So
That is certainly unfortunate.
yeah, I did pass a save point, but I did not use it because I didn't think I needed to. So
I
oopsie
picked up a
doopsie.
piece of paper by accident. So now I can take a nap. I'll wait for the game to save, and then I can quit out and then enter back in again, just to skip the animation of waking up. And then my fever's cured, so now I don't need to worry about getting those coughing fits or being slow. You can just take a nap to do that in this game. And it also saves your game, which is also helpful. So now I'm beginning the long run to the Orchid, which is at the very top right of the map. It is far and away the most inconveniently placed plant.
Yeah.
Because you got to go way out of your way to the corner of the map to get it. So it's going to be a little bit of a journey, but we're going to get there together.
I have an update on the incentives if I could read them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
absolutely,
Yeah.
go for it.
Words are hard. I'm having trouble with words today. Anyways, we have our incentive for the medieval defeat final boss with sword only incentive. Again, we need to reach $100 before the end of the run into the final boss section. We currently are at $5, so keep getting those donations in, and that's about in 2 hours, so we can definitely get those donations and reach this incentive. And then we have another bid war of Hell of an Office, choose your stapler. You can choose a stapler from a unicorn, banana, or a demon stapler. So you can also get your donations in for that, and just type !donation.
So something else that is useful in this, I'm stuck on a tree right now. Okay, we're good. Is that when you're going down slopes, it's very easy to lose control of your momentum and wind up falling over, which is bad for multiple reasons. But something you can do is that if you're going down a slope with trees on it, you can just throw yourself into a tree and you'll just bounce off it, and it'll just
instantly kills your
cancel out
momentum.
all your momentum.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do any damage to you. You can just throw yourself into a tree if you're, careening down the hillside and end up being just fine.
So I've finally regathered all the plants that I missed from dying the first time there, and I'm on my way back to that original laboratory there.
So here's another plant you can collect right here. They're trumpet mushrooms. I don't even remember what they do because we don't need to collect them.
They, if I remember right, they basically tie into like the horror element of the game. Essentially, after your third day in game, a giant monster will spawn and try and basically chase you around the map and also protect all of the plants required to make the cure. However, we don't ever run into that monster because we defeat the game by day 2. But that trumpet mushroom, once you synthesize that, it basically makes a potion or tonic or whatever that lets you recognize the monster faster, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I am glad we will be avoiding all horror elements of this game.
Yeah.
Yes, there will be there's exactly one enemy and we will not be seeing him unless something really goes wrong.
Which I am not anticipating, hopefully, but you never know.
So I'm entering this little valley between two mountains here, and unfortunately, it seems that the fastest strategy to get to the orchid is to actually just run between them. There was a routing idea that we were workshopping for a while where we would actually climb this mountain and just throw ourselves from the top of it and just take damage from landing and,
Deal with
breaking
it.
your whole body. And unfortunately, it was a little slower to do that, but it was a really funny strat that we were hoping would work out. So unfortunately, we got to take the boring way of just safely walking in between the mountains.
Yeah. Maybe one day in the future we can try and revive that strat.
Yeah, maybe
but
we'll work something out, a specific spot that you can go to.
Not today.
You just need that one route for
Exactly.
a specific
Right.
category that uses it.
Well, we didn't even get into... So, this is no glitches allowed, of course. However, the main way to any percent this game uses an absolutely game-breaking glitch, which is if you have... So you pick up plants in your left hand, but you can pick up items, mostly rocks, in your right hand, to essentially just throw at the creature and distract it. However, if you keep your throw primed just by holding left click, for the entirety of the duration that you swim, you don't drown or anything like that.
You still take damage, but you don't die. You'll just keep swimming. So you can essentially just swim forever as long as you're holding a rock in your hand.
Yeah. So the final point in this game to reach the end of the game is on an island far away from the main island that we currently spawn on. But we can just kind of swim infinitely to that island and end the game immediately. So this run is estimated at around like 30 to 40 minutes. That one's about 8.
It's just a mad dash for the water, and then just swim to the exit. So coming up here, I'm going to be making a little detour off this path to pick up another mushroom because we're going to be doing another swim later. And while we're running past this area that grows those mushrooms, we're going to make a quick pit stop and grab one.
So I'm guessing by now you have times, of course, of when you should be drinking, but what exactly does not drinking do?
You eventually run out of stamina, and you'll just start running really, really slow.
Yeah.
So part of getting, I don't want to say getting good, but like part of learning how to do this is recognizing when you start slowing down because it's not super obvious.
Like your character will breathe a little bit heavier, but...
Yeah. The sound will change a little bit, and you can kind of notice yourself slowing down, and that's usually when you want to take a stop and take a sip.
But really, it's just sort of
And you
more
also want to
of a feel
be
thing.
spacing them out so that you don't run out of water, because that can really hurt your time if you have to run a far distance without any water, so you're just going really slow the whole time.
Yeah, the canteen you have on your person only carries 5 swigs of water, so you can only refill yourself so much before you have to go visit a natural source of water somewhere.
Right. So part of the routing is also that it's not just making a straight line to the nearest destination. It's also you need to stay kind of near bodies of water because you don't want to be running slow the entire time. You want to be able to refill your flask. Okay, so I'm approaching where the orchid is right now. So I'm going to drop off my mushroom here on the floor because I'm going to take a quick swim, and this swim is just a little far enough that I can't make it to the other side without getting fever. And when you get fever, you drop everything in your hand, and we don't want to drop the mushroom in the water. So once I am able to... I got an unfortunate... Oh, this is unfortunate. Hold on. I gotta do this again. Come on. I'm stuck in the water right now.
That
MAWNHA.
sucks.
Yeah, hold on. Wow, this is really unlucky.
Angle.
Normally you're able to just... There we go. All right, normally you're able to just run out of the water, but I got hit with a coughing fit at a really bad time, so it destroyed my momentum, and then I just couldn't get it back to get back up the... All right, so now I have the orchid, which means I can run back across and pick up my mushroom that I left carefully right here. and then I'm gonna make a beeline for the nearest research station, the nearest outpost. One, so that I can drop off this orchid at a safe location, but also so that I can get to a bed and sleep this fever off, because I do not want to have this for the rest of the run.
And also, on top of that, we want to sleep through the nighttime, because while the monster isn't spawning, the map does get insanely dark at night. So it's basically impossible to speedrun this with any efficacy during the night, because it's just impossible to see where you're going.
The game does give you a lighter that you take out when it gets dark out, but...
It
Hold on.
basically
it does
only
give you
shows
lighter,
right
but it
in
lets
front
you
of
see like 2 feet in front of your face.
Yeah.
It's like it hardly helps at all. So I've just made another tonic for swimming, and I just put that orchid in the storage bin. And the storage bin syncs with other storage bins on the map. So if I go to another research station somewhere else, that orchid will still be there. So it's essentially just saved. So I'll take a drink of water here, and then I'm gonna sleep in this bed to get rid of this fever. Wait for the game to save. And then it's dark out, so I'm gonna sleep again so I don't have to run around in the dark. And now it's
Well,
morning.
you don't know the game. You don't know the map well enough to run around in the dark.
Listen, it is, I've tried it before. You're like, yeah, I know what the map looks like. I know where I need to go. But then as soon as you just, like, can't see more than 2 feet in front of you, it's so easy to get lost. Even when it's light out, I can still sometimes get lost.
Yeah, we fall over in broad daylight. If we did this during the nighttime, we would be just launching ourselves off of cliffs.
Yeah.
That's if someone wants to beat the world record, they know what they have to do.
Exactly, you know?
They have,
Go
they have to fully memorize the map and be able to play during the dark.
Exactly, you know? Game's $15 on Steam. Go get it. Go learn the map by heart and beat it during the nighttime for us.
Where are you at right now, Mana?
I am just approaching like the ruins before like the big aqueduct on the way to the orchid.
Okay.
I'm honestly making pretty good time if I didn't shoot myself in the foot and basically start 8 minutes after you.
It's certainly unfortunate.
So
It happens to the best of
Maybe
us.
you can recover.
yeah,
Anything could happen. I could choke at any moment.
true.
We don't want that to happen.
No.
No, definitely not.
No shot. So I am now now that I've got the orchid and I've got it put in a safe location, I am making my way. So we were just in the top right corner of the map, and now we need to go sort of to the top left corner. So I'm kind of backtracking where I ran from before when I was on my way to the orchid, except the route is going to be a little different. I'm going to take a path that leads to a different area of the map, and then I'm going to pop this swimming potion that I have on me, this tonic that I made with that mushroom earlier. That's going to be very helpful.
And for context there, we essentially start in the bottom right corner of the map. So we went from the bottom right to the top right, and now we're going over to the top left. Although it sounds easy, but the map is essentially just one big X, so it's not as straightforward as just going one direction and eventually reaching there.
So, what is it like to play this game casually?
Mm-hmm.
You said you didn't know what everything did because of focusing on speedrun info and not general game info, which can be very different.
Yeah. I think Dwinkleton touched on it earlier, but the biggest difference in playing it casually is actually using the cartography mechanic, which is a super sick game mechanic. I really have yet to see a game other than this one attempt something like that by having to triangulate your position on the map no matter where you are. It's really, really cool to do in a casual play of this game. It's kind of a shame we never get to really use it in this, but it's a super sick mechanic. I think it's really, really fun.
I mean, we could use it. It would just be for no functional purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
You could have a speedrun category of full map.
That's true.
That way you
That
can
would
do
take
it.
a long time.
It's insane.
There's a category that we sort of brainstormed that none of us have been brave enough to actually go and do it. And we call it healthy percent, which is it involves collecting even more plants because the plants that we're collecting right now are just the bare minimum that we need for the cure. But there's also, I think there's 6 more plants, right? And each pair of those
It's either 3 or 6.
heals you in a specific way. I can't remember exactly how it works.
So I'll pull it up on my
yeah, go
screen
for it.
since I've already nuked my time here. So in your notebook, you have 3 different abilities. There's strength, endurance, and perception. Right now, all of ours are at low because we're plague-ridden. You can get, I believe they're called stimulants, which permanently increase those to normal. So healthy percent would be us getting all 3 of those to increase our abilities to normal before curing ourselves fully with the plague cure. That being said, when you do synthesize the cure, it brings all those to normal anyways, so it's not like super necessary, but if you're doing a casual run of the game, it might be nice to have your endurance at normal rather than low for the entirety of your playthrough.
And you get to explore a lot more of the map when you, if you're trying to go for that.
Yeah, and the game does incentivize exploring a lot. The story of the game is pretty much told entirely through like journal notes and stuff like that you pick up from the old outposts. It's really, really well done, I think, personally. But that's how that game is supposed to be played. But again, we just sort of breeze right past that.
Ah yes, speedrunning, destroying story. For all
Exactly.
games. Who cares about story when you go fast?
Exactly. And it's not even just skipping cutscenes, it's we're completely not even engaging in it. Alright, so
I am now taking my second tonic so I can make this next swim that I have in front of me. And to get to this other quadrant of the map to find our last 3 plants for the cure.
And I am about to synthesize that last tonic.
Just as a reminder that we're currently raising funds for Go Rescue. The Go Rescue website has its own section for adoption success stories. Please go check out gorescuedogs.com/success stories for some adorable pictures and heartwarming tales. And if you type !donate, not donations, that was my fault, you will be able to donate for these awesome incentives coming up for the current, for future runs.
So I am approaching, I made it across the body of water. I'm now super fevered up, so I am absolutely going to take a nap right here to get rid of that. Then I'll wait for the game to save. Alright, and now I can progress on my journey to getting the last 3 plants, which come in pretty rapid succession compared to how slow it was just to go out there and get that orchid. That's like half of the time in the run goes to getting to the orchid and then getting back from getting the orchid.
Yeah. So if there was a different orchid location, this run would be a lot slower. And then, yeah. Speaking of Go Rescue, I have to get my cat off of my desk.
I was gonna say, I know if there was an intruder in your camera.
Yeah. He is something else. Yeah, thank you, buddy.
We love our pets.
So I just got the bulbous fruit plant, which is one of the 3 plants that we need, and now I'm on my way to get the tree fungus, I think it's called.
Yes.
Trying very carefully to control my momentum here because this slope is very steep, and if you fall, like I said, if you get fever at least, which usually happens when you fall, you drop everything in your hand. And so if you drop something on a very steep slope like this, it will just roll all the way down and I'd have to go chase it. And I really don't want to have to do that. So I'm trying to be very careful.
I'm trying to think. Like you said before, but how exactly does going too fast make you have a fever?
Well, it's not
How does that work?
It's not the going fast that gives you the fever. It's when you fall down and bonk your head that gives you a fever.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works.
It's like the whole.
We have the plague.
It's like the whole bit about how it's not the falling off of a building that'll hurt you. It's the sudden stop. You know, it's not
Right.
us going too fast that gives us fever. It's the hitting, rolling on the ground for 10 seconds afterwards.
It's all the bits on the ground that is dirty and such
Yeah.
that gives you the fever.
What's funny is that sometimes when you fall, you don't get fever. Like if the fall is short enough, or like you don't fall from a great enough height or something like that, you don't get fever. So a lot of times, if you fall down, you just have to sort of sit there and cross your fingers and pray that you're not about to launch everything in your hand all over the place.
Right. I'm.
And you definitely do not want to see all your precious plants go flying everywhere.
No.
So, I am now on my way to the last plant that we need for the cure, which is the bioluminescent algae. And what's interesting about this plant is that the area where you're like technically supposed to get it from is not here. Through doing some research into routing this game, we found some. There's essentially no community for this game. It's pretty much just us, by the way. So most of what we're doing was routed like specifically by us for the purpose of this run.
Mm-hmm.
And someone on the Steam boards for this game said that they discovered a secondary location for the algae, which just happens to be a very specific point in this quadrant of the map, which conveniently happens to be very close to two of the other plants. So we can avoid going to a whole nother quadrant of the map just by making use of this exact location, which I can show you in 2 seconds here.
Yeah.
So you can see there's all this algae on the water. You can't pick any of this up. The one you have to pick up is this one specifically.
And how it.
You can't pick up any of the other ones.
Yeah, and how the game is intended to show you this is the item is called bioluminescent algae. So you're supposed to go to this big, like, marsh, essentially, during the nighttime, and then the plant that you need will be glowing, and all of the other ones won't be. However, I think even in that little secret location there, that algae does not do that. So it just looks identical to all of the other algae, and you just have to know which
It's
one
honestly
you're grabbing.
probably just a mistake made by the developers where they put the wrong kind of algae down or something like that. There's no indication that that was put there on purpose, but we can use it to go faster,
Yeah,
so
and
we're going to use it.
That being said, we greatly appreciate that they put it there by accident.
So now all I have to do is get my way to the last laboratory, but I need to make sure I don't accidentally run past it because I did that earlier when I was practicing today.
If you could run past it for about 7 minutes, that would be really cool.
Yeah. I might have run past it actually.
Just return.
Yeah, I think I did. I think I see it
Circles.
behind me. Yep. I got a little confused.
And then, once you cure yourself of the plague, how do you get off this island?
So
exactly you are.
the destination is a boat that is on another island that is a ways away, which you would not be able to swim to under normal conditions, but once your plague is cured, you can swim infinitely. So you can just swim out to that little island out there. You can see that right there. And make your escape. So I just need to carefully get down. I'm going to fall. Yep, there I go. But I did not get fever. I did not drop my things, so it's like it never happened.
Time save, but also not a time save.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I did roll around on the floor for a little bit.
Speaking of rolling
Okay, so
on
I'm
the
gonna
floor,
drop
did
that
I get
there, I'm
fever?
gonna drop
Oh,
that
I'm
there.
so good.
I'm going to make component number 2, and then remember that orchid from earlier? There it is. I'm going to pick it up now, and we can put that together with the algae to make
Something
our
about how
last
we
component.
Got there.
And then once you take the last component, you get this little cutscene. Isn't it beautiful? My beautiful syringe.
Suddenly a syringe, yes.
And then you're cured.
Slight poke is all you need.
Exactly.
Don't even inject yourself. Now you just swim off?
And now we just make a mad dash, and then once you're healthy, you don't need to stop to drink water anymore. I don't know. Can you still get fever if you're healthy?
I know you can fall. I can't remember whether or not you get fever.
Well, we don't have to worry about it anymore because
Exactly.
we're free to swim away.
Something I did want to touch on, you mentioned earlier, that there's barely any community for this game, so there's still a lot that could be discovered about it. And
Yes.
possibly more routes.
There is certainly the potential for a lot of neat stuff to be found. Just the two of us working on it ourselves haven't found a ton, but we also are not super experienced in this line of work. So we just sort of came up with the route and used the tech that we knew how to do to get there as fast as we could.
And like Lefty said earlier, this game was built by just two brother designers who also built their own engine to make this game. So with this being their own engine, the engine is super busted. It can cause a lot of goofy interactions and things like that. So there is definitely rife potential for there to be more found, but we just haven't found that as of yet.
Require a lot of hours of playing the game itself or digging
Yeah.
into the code.
Yeah, and that's not even a slight to them. Like, them making an entire engine just by themselves, essentially, is insane. Like, in a great way. It's just, you know, modern game engines are created by teams of hundreds, and then also tested on top of that by other, like, QA teams of hundreds. But
We actually got in touch with the developers
Yeah.
a while back. We didn't know if they'd still be responsive to their email, but they are. And so I think we asked them about being able to take a look at like the source code or making something open source or something like that. Oh no, I think this was in
this was
a
in
Steam
the Steam boards, yeah.
comment. Yeah, this was in the Steam boards actually. Was that one of them responded and said, "We've considered the possibility of making things open source and letting people take a look inside the hood, but we're a little embarrassed of our coding skills, and we don't know if we want people to be able to see all the mistakes we make."
Which, unbelievably real. Like, very relatable.
There's
Oh,
always mistakes.
by the way, time is going to be coming up for me in a couple seconds, so I'm going to click on the steering wheel of this ship, and then we'll be done. Well, I'll be done. I need to get on the ship. And time.
Good job.
Sweet.
GG.
And now we get this lovely cutscene
Oh god.
of us sailing away from this island.
That's not my plants.
And what do we have with us? We have a bunch more
there they
syringes. Do you want to explain, Mana? You're better with the story than I am. Do you want to explain the significance of the ending of the game?
Yeah, so essentially how it works, again, it's been a hot second since I've thought about the story to this game, but basically the story behind all of the scientists who were working on the island was that they, like, if you wander around, there are a bunch of like dead bodies and like bodies with knives in their backs and things like that, and you have to piece together sort of what happened to them. And essentially what happened is one of the people on the expedition named Herbert Goes essentially went mad, started seeing hallucinations of something that looked very reminiscent to the monster, and started killing everybody. And what the game leads you to conclude is essentially that Robert and Herbert are the same person, and that this monster...
Their names are anagrams,
Yes,
yeah?
and that
Yeah.
the monster that is chasing you around this island is just one big hallucination. Because also, when you cure yourself, the monster just magically disappears.
Yes, once you're cured, there is no monster to be hunted by anymore. It doesn't spawn.
So that's sort of the piece together story that you get from reading through like journals and other things like that that are scattered about the map. I am coming up on the algae right now here.
Got it. And there you can see all these different responsibilities all fell on one of the two brothers.
Yeah. One of the brothers was essentially all of like the coding and engine design and stuff like that, and the other one created all the music and story and stuff like that. So they sort of
Yeah.
split up the all the responsibilities there. That's the word. I'm having a really great
Did we
time
mention that they
falling
were
down every
brothers
single
earlier?
cliff.
Did we
I
mention
did,
that?
at least.
Oh, okay, good.
At least a dozen times, yes.
Okay, good.
Wonderful.
This engine is also this custom engine that they built is called the Milo engine, and you're gonna discover why they called it that in a couple moments. There it is.
My plants are rolling down a hill, meanwhile.
Oh no.
It's fine, we've got them all.
And you're coming up on the laboratory to make the cure yourself now?
Yes, I'm coming up on the lab right now. I'll be cured momentarily.
Oh, the credits do show a QR code at the end of the credits. That is a link to a project that they had. They never released. It's like a page on their website all about this never released project they were making for mobile devices, I think.
It was like mobile PC or something like that. Weird like that.
Yeah. It was something like that. And it was scary at first scanning that QR code and it doesn't have a label on it, so we didn't know where it went.
Yeah, don't
but,
scan
we
random
took
QR codes from the internet.
Yes, don't do that. But we did take a chance on it, and it went to their website.
Well, they actually talked about the ending. We didn't really say, why are there all those, I guess, cures in the crate? What are they going to use those for?
It's basically, I would presume, so Robert can just go out to the public and distribute them to people who need them.
Right. I believe the story is that Robert gets exiled to this island when he contracts the plague. So he's bringing all the cures back so that they don't have to do that anymore. They can just cure them with the cure that he discovered on this island.
So the scientists were here. Robert left the island before he got plague, after killing everyone. But then he got the plague and he was sent back.
It's also possible, that because of like the weird like mistaken identity thing, hallucination stuff going on, that he wasn't actually exiled there. Maybe he was one of the scientists, and he's an unreliable narrator is kind of the thing. But that's the way that the story is delivered to you, is under the pretense that he was sent away when he got the plague.
I'm about halfway through my final swim, and just about ready, hopefully, to finish this run out here.
It definitely seems like an interesting game that people should try out and see how long they can avoid the monster.
Yeah.
The monster is pretty scary. It is a little freaky. Something else that's interesting about this game is that it's one of the very first games to be a part of Steam's Greenlight program.
It was in the first batch of, I think it was 12 games or something like that. Yeah, we remember Steam Greenlight.
I remember that.
Yeah.
What a lovely program.
But
So I do understand why it was discontinued.
yeah, definitely understandable. But yeah, this was sort of one of the first ones to do so there. And if I remember correctly, I was in high school when Greenlight happened, so I am a little fuzzy on it. But I think you could vote on the first games to be greenlit by Valve. So this, I mean, that means that this was one of the highest vote getters from that vote. So clearly people wanted it greenlit onto Steam there, and there it was.
And now no one remembers.
At the time, people were interested.
Yeah. This came out, I want to say maybe like 2 or 3 years before The Forest did, which is sort of a similar vibe. So at the time there wasn't really a whole lot like it. my time is coming up. Just about now here, and that's time for me. So,
Nice.
42 definitely isn't great, but if you consider that I had to restart about 7.5 to 8 minutes in, 34 is pretty good. So, we'll take
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
GG.
The question is, from your restart time to the actual time, were you faster than Dinkleton?
That's a good question.
true,
What
that's
what
true.
speed was Lefty
Oh,
at there?
Well, yeah, what was my time?
I see a
Was I 35?
3 on stream.
I see 3503. So you know what? You might have had a better
Pretty
run on the
close.
second go around. If only you hadn't drowned.
If only. I was like one swim away from not doing it because I weighed my odds of like, well, maybe I should just go back and make a basic medicine, like whatever. But then I was like, we ball. So I was very, very close to doing so, but you know, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Right.
As you do.
Well, thank you guys so much for having us. Thank you for joining us, Hope Hop, on comms. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Pleasure.
and
Was a honor to be able to be a part of the show. It was a great time. I'm glad everyone got to see what this little game is all about. This little hidden gem from 2012. You can find me on Twitch at I think my name is on the screen right now, but it's Lefty_Dwinkleton. I still stream from time to time. I'm working out my schedule right now, but I'm still keeping it up.
yeah, I don't stream a whole lot, but mine is on the screen as well there. And I echo the same sentiments. Thanks for watching. This is a cool game. I'd highly recommend picking it up, even if it's just to play it casually. I think it does a lot of things that other games really don't do. It's very unique, and I think that in itself is kind of worth a play. All right. Anything else to add, or?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah, that's all we got.
Thank you guys.
All right, what an amazing run we just saw, Miasmata. Welcome back to No Glitches Allowed 2025, and I'm your host for now, Ad129. And yeah, we're gonna soon, unfortunately, transition into my last shift here, technically, for hosting. So before we do that, I have one more thing to remind you of. We still have our incentives open for the medieval final boss with only sword incentive. Just as a reminder, we need to reach $100 by the end of that run, which before the final boss section, to reach this incentive. And then we still have that choose your stapler incentive open for King J, between a unicorn, banana, and a demon stapler. All right, we have Tabby here in the voice call. How was your little break?
It was great. I'm back. Nice 2 hour
I
break.
didn't. Yeah, I didn't ask you before. What are your runs that you're looking forward to?
Oh, wow. Well, I kind of did say I was really hyped about Super Mario Odyssey. I love Super Mario Odyssey so much. I am, and then there's the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. Like that is going to be awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's been my time here as a host. Yeah. I will be back for the medieval run as a commentator, so I will still be a part of the event. So, but yeah, that's basically it for me as a host. So yeah.
You did awesome, and I'll take it from here.
Perfect.
Oh, it feels so good to be back, guys. So good. If you guys forgot, you are watching No Glitches Allowed 2025. I'm Tabby Ecstasy, your host again. But did you guys know there is a new milestone update that we'll be able to talk about in the next run? But we are going to get ready to toss it up for our next run, which is Wario World, any percent, no super jump race. That sounds so fun. And it's by Dip and Ruff. Take it away, guys. I can't wait to see this run. Just got word that we're not quite ready yet. Fine. Gives me time to talk about that milestone that I was talking about earlier. For Slime Rancher, all Gordo's category upgrade, the milestone is for $2,500. I know we can do it. We can do it. I know we can do it. We can do it. There's so many great things coming up. Because I mean, like I said, we have Wario World right now. We're gonna have Medieval, then Hell of an Office. Remember what I was talking about earlier about those staplers? Hey, let's keep going with that. I want to see those staplers. I want to see the banana one. I want to see the banana. The banana. Let's see how that is doing. Updating. All right. View details. Ooh, banana staplers sharply in the lead. Unicorn stapler's at $10, and we got banana stapler at $39. Hey. We're not ready for stapling action. I might be ready for some stapling action. You never know. But I know I am ready Oh, guys, we are ready for Wario World. Finally, we are ready. So, Dip and Ruff, take it away. Have fun with your run.